Colleen, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Barely, just barely.
All right, let me see if I can turn it up a little here.
That
How's
was better.
that? Is that a little bit better?
That's better, yes. You got it.
All right,
It's
perfect.
all yours.
All right, well, thank you so much. Well, I'm excited to take everybody through ZipForms 6 Professional. Let me introduce myself. My name is Colleen. I've been a national account rep here at ZipLogix for the past 5 years, but I've also been a realtor in Michigan for the last 14 years. This is going to allow me to take you through ZipForm and show you some time-saving tips and techniques in actually using the program, like a real realtor uses the program. We're not a tech company who built some program that doesn't really fit the needs of realtors. We're actually owned in part by the National Association of Realtors, and ZipForm, as you know, is very user-friendly because it was designed by realtors and brokers around what they were looking for. But I've been asked today to go through the program and show you some of the new features that we've recently added to the program. And I know most everyone on the line is pretty familiar with ZipForm as you're using it now, but I want to show you some ways today that you can use it even more efficiently. And I say this as an agent who used to run into the office. I'd always do things the same way. And let's face it, when we're getting ready to write an offer or take a new listing, well, we run into the office and we just go into the forms. But there's a lot more that you can do in ZipForm, and I'm going to show you some of those things today. We've built some great enhancements in ZipForm that are going to allow you to pull over your information into any transaction with one click. That's one of my big pet peeves as an agent is my agent information is always going to be the same. I'm always going to be Colleen DeLange. I'm always going to be working at the same brokerage with the same address and email and phone. So why in the world do I have to keep putting that information in over and over again? And I'm sure you've probably asked yourself that same question. You know, hey, my information's always the same. Why do I have to keep filling it in? Well, I'm going to show you some great ways today that you can use tools to automatically insert your information right into your transaction. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at ZipForm. And I know most of you are already pretty familiar with ZipForm, so we're just going to sort of do a real quick recap, and then we're going to go over the actual new tools that we've added to the program. One thing I want to point out is really this entire program is navigated by two tabs that you see at the top here. We've got the Home tab, where we're obviously starting new transactions and working with any of our existing transactions. And then there's the Forms tab. And I talk to a lot of agents across the country, and they say, you know, Kyle, I have never, ever used the Forms tab. What is it really for? Well, that's if you really just want to run into the office and grab a form and go. So let's say you're very limited on time. You want to grab a single amendment or a single addendum. That's where that Forms tab comes in so handy. It allows you to just grab a form and head out the door. But for the very basics, for just creating new transactions, it's going to ask you to simply name your transaction. I'm sure most of you are already doing that. But get in the habit of naming your transaction after the property address. The reason I say this is as an agent, let's say I'm working with Bob Smith, and Bob Smith buys more than one home from me. Well, that means every time I'm looking for a particular property, I have to find Bob Smith's name, then I have to find the property address. It's an extra step. And where I want to point out that it will save you time is anytime you're emailing contracts, or if you opt to use electronic or digital signatures. It will do a lot of that work for you if you'll get in the habit of naming your transaction after the property address. Now, there's no rule on naming the transaction. If you're more comfortable naming it Bob Smith, then by all means, go ahead and do so. But it really will save you time if you get in the habit of naming your transaction after the street address. You'll also notice that down below here is a drop-down. And that drop-down is where you can store helpful packets. So I'm sure some of you still run into the office and have a listing packet, or maybe you have a sales packet or a short sale packet. And myself as an agent, I've done that as well. But more and more of us are working from home. We're working from, Starbucks. We're at clients' homes. So the idea is we can have those packets of forms already made up for us. Now, your office right now may have packet of forms, so use those templates or packets of forms so that with one click, you can apply all the necessary forms you need for taking a new listing, as you see here. Now, if you're not super familiar with ZipForm, this screen that looks like a lot of information is basically divided into 3 main screens. The first screen, of course, is the form that you're filling out. The upper left-hand corner is going to be all of the forms for this particular transaction. And then down below, of course, is going to be all of the forms that you have available to you. Now, the great news is you guys have your own custom forms, so you can search just by the agent-owned library, or you can search the South Carolina forms, or you can search both of those libraries together, making it really easy to find any form you want to add. Now, the nice thing, if you use packets or templates, and I'm going to show you how to set one up in just a couple of moments, but if you use those templates, those mandatory forms or those forms that you need anytime you take a listing or a sale are already applied. But then, of course, there's times that there's optional forms we need. Maybe this residential listing is a condo, or maybe this has a swimming pool addendum. Maybe we need to add a lockbox form. So you can always add those additional forms in. And when you're adding those forms in, the nice thing is you can very quickly search alphabetically. You can very quickly search numerically. You can search by category, or you can just do a general search. So let's say we're looking for a disclosure. We can type the word disclosure in, click the binocular icon, and it's going to show me any form that's labeled as a disclosure. I can even type in part of the word and it will show me. So it's very easy to find the exact forms you're looking to work with. But now we see we have 2 disclosures here. Maybe I want to view the form before I add it to my transaction. You can right-click on forms and you can do form preview. That form preview allows you to see the form and then decide, do I want to add it to my transaction? Do I just want to print out a blank form? Maybe I want to print out a sample stamped form. Sometimes I'll do a for sale by owner leave behind, and it will literally print sample down the middle of the form, ensuring that no one else can utilize that form later on. So some great options when you're working with the forms. This keeps you from adding forms you didn't really want to add into your transactions. You're not adding forms you really don't need. And if this is not the form we want to use, we simply close out, and now we don't have to add forms in and pull them back out. Okay? But one of the things I want to show you that not a lot of people are utilizing is that you can add multiple forms at one time. You can simply hold down your control key, highlight all of the forms you want to add, and then drag them up to the top box. So it's a simple drag and drop application. So literally you can add all of those forms in at one time. You don't have to do it form by form. So keep in mind, if you prefer double-clicking on them, you certainly can do that to add them in, or you can highlight them and simply drag them into your transaction. But I know you're probably thinking at this point, yeah, but you said I could insert my information with one click. How do I do that? Well, about 2 weeks ago, it's a very, very new feature, we added a transaction information button. This transaction information button allows you to add your information or title company information or maybe a particular vendor that you're working with quite often. You can add their information into a transaction with one click. So how does it work? Well, let's say that we are taking this new listing, and we are obviously in a listing scenario. We're going to be that listing brokerage. But I added the forms in blank, and the first thing I want to show you is that using a cover sheet will give you the most auto-population available in your transaction. So You can start with any form, as you know, and it will auto-populate. But as you can see on this cover sheet, it allows me to quickly get all the information down in a fast fill-out format. So in this case, if I am taking a new listing, I'm going to be the listing brokerage. So I want to fill all my data into this area with one click. So I'm going to go up to that transaction information button, and it's going to show me all the base points of this transaction, so all the important points in a transaction. And I am, of course, going to be the listing brokerage. So if I go to the listing brokerage, you'll see all of the information I'm going to need to fill in. I'm going to click the little card next to listing brokerage. When you click that card, it's going to show you your name. I have my home inspector here. You can bring over all of your contacts now into ZipForm. But in this case, I'm going to say, okay, I am the listing brokerage. I'm going to select OK.
Colleen, we've lost sound. Colleen?
Bring them over. I can simply click Import to import those contacts from those other systems. Now, if you're like me, the word import, export makes you a little nervous, so you can always go right up to this blue link that we've added. That blue link allows you to see an actual diagram of how to bring your contacts over into ZipForm so that they are part of your address book. For me, I hate these manuals because I seem to always have questions, so we've taken it a step further. We've also put an actual video. It's about 45 seconds long. You can click on the play button, and it will guide you through, step by step, bringing those transactions over. And it's really nice because it's a voice. You can follow it. It's a lot easier than reading a how-to manual, which I'm not a big fan of. All right? So that is the address book. That's another great feature that allows you to simply pull in your contacts. But let's say you have some contacts and you don't need to bring them in from anywhere. They're brand new contacts. Well, you can always go in and simply click Add, and you can manually add your contact information. The first thing I recommend you do is add yourself, because that way you can insert all your data with one click. And you can even give it categories. Maybe you want to have all your home inspectors listed under one category. Maybe you want agents or co-oping agents to be listed under another category so you can quickly send information out. So again, you can import those contacts or you can manually even set them up. We've also enhanced the emailing and added faxing. So what I love about ZipForm is you literally can email from anywhere. So I can be at Starbucks and I can select email, and I don't have to worry. Even if I can't access my own email provider, I can still send it out from Starbucks. When that email comes to your client, let's face it, if they got an email from ZipForm, your seller would be like, I don't know who ZipForm is, and they would immediately delete that email. However, this email comes from your name and your email address. It is also going to carbon copy you at whatever email address you're registered in the program with. Remember when I said it will even save you steps? Well, you see it's already filled in my property address because that's what I named the transaction. Now, if you want to change the subject line, you certainly can. You can put in Hello Bob Smith if you want to. You can also change your carbon copy email address. So let's say you're sending this from vacation and you're only going to be checking your Gmail account while you're on vacation. You can carbon copy yourself to that address. Another feature I really like is how many times do our clients get an email from us and they have a question. They can simply reply to your email and it will automatically send it to your email address. So you never have to worry that you're missing an email. It will always come back to you. We've also added that great address book right to your emailing. So if you go to the right, you can actually pull in the email address of the person you want to send this to. You can put in notes. We've also added spell check. You now can go in and you can select the forms that you want to send, and you can even choose the page number of the forms that you want to email. Now, as an agent, I always want to put these in a particular order. Usually I want to have, maybe an agency addendum on top. So I can maneuver these forms in whatever order I want my client to see them in. So keep in mind, you can rearrange them so they appear exactly as you want. Then, when you're ready to email, hit send, and off they go. Faxing is going to work very similar. We've added faxing probably just a couple of months ago. Faxing allows you to go ahead and, again, pull a fax number over from a contact. So if I want to include Colleen's fax number, I can pull it from my address book. I can go in, I can put in some additional comments. Again, I can fax just the documents I want, and I can even choose the page numbers of the documents I want. I can put them in any order, and I can send myself a delivery confirmation. So literally, I can be notified that they've received that fax. All right. There are a lot of great things in the way of e-signatures. E-signatures are becoming very popular across the country. And ZipForm has integrated with DocuSign, which has been a leader in providing electronic signatures. And then we've released our own digital signing program, which is called ZipLogic's Digital Link. It's a very easy, quick, and efficient way of sending documents over and having our clients sign them. The turnaround time is sometimes about a minute, and literally they can go in and sign those documents. Clients don't need to purchase anything additional. They don't need to download anything. It's a very, very user-friendly program. And Liza, I'm not sure if you wanted me to cover that in greater detail. I'm going to leave that to you. If you could just let me know how deep you want me to cover that. If you actually want me to go through it, I'll be happy to do that, but I'll wait for your direction on that.
Why don't you go through it?
All right. So, I'm sorry?
Go through it.
Go through it? Okay, terrific. Basically, ZipForm allows you to send your contracts right from your transaction out for someone to sign. And how it works is, let's say we are in our 125 Stokes Avenue transaction. Let's open up this transaction. We've got our cover sheet filled out. And a lot of people say, Colleen, why do I want to use a cover sheet? It's an extra form. Don't we have enough forms to fill out? Well, I promise you that if you get in the habit of using a cover sheet, it will give you the most auto-population, and I promise you, you won't go back to filling it out form by form. But let's say we've got our transaction all set. We want to email our clients their contracts. As I mentioned, there are two types of e-signature. There's DocuSign, which provides an electronic signature, and ZipLogic's Digital Link, which is a digital signing program. And you can Google the differences, but basically digital is where it physically encrypts a signature directly into the document. Electronic takes that same secure document and just overlays the signature on the document. So a little bit of difference in the process. They're both very secure, and they follow the UTA compliant guidelines, making them legal and binding in all 50 states. So let's take a look at it. So we filled out, let's say, our exclusive right to list. We filled out all of our forms here. We go up to this little button that says e-sign. Click on e-sign, and this is going to show us all of the forms that are part of our transaction. And as I said, we really want to just send, for the sake of our demonstration today, we're going to send the exclusive right to list agreement. And you'll notice it even pulls over our contacts for us. So I can go in, I can send this to seller 1 and seller 2. Now the great news, in ZipForm, we have pre-tagged those forms, meaning that we already know where seller 1 is supposed to sign and seller 2, and we've actually tagged those forms, so when you send them out to your clients, it only allows them to sign in the right place. Now you can go in, you can preview them, but I kind of want to show you that process today so you understand how the tagging works. So we're going to click Modify in DocuSign. When we go into the DocuSign program, and it takes us directly there, by the way. We don't have to log in anywhere additional. It takes us right into our DocuSign account. From here, it shows you the form that the agents are sending, or that you're sending. It shows you the order and the parties that you're sending it to. Now, as an agent myself, my agent hat on for just a moment, I know that I'm never going to send it to Sally and Tom at the same time, right? Because I want Sally to sign it, and then I want it to go on to Tom. So I'm going to put them in an order so that I have a fully executed document. And I can go ahead and, again, see that ZipForm is filling information out for me. I can add comments. And what I'm going to do is I'm now going to send this over to my client. But I kind of want to show you how the tagging looks. The tagging allows you to see that each party is going to be able to initial here and here. It's already set up where they're going to be signing. But you can also add additional signature blocks. Like if I want them to sign here, I can drag that tab over so it's going to appropriately tell them, hey, you're going to sign right here. They can't miss a signature, and they can't sign in the wrong place. It's only going to allow them to sign where you've set up. But of course, there are times where maybe it's a disclosure, and we don't want to influence whether or not they're going to initial or sign. We can even use optional initials or optional signatures. Once you've set up exactly where you want each party to sign, then you can go ahead and send it out. And remember, it's going to 2 parties. So if I want to see where Colleen is going to sign, I can click on Colleen's name, and you see it grays out Sally's signatures here. So it allows you to see exactly where each party is going to be signing. Once you're ready to send these documents out to your client, you can click Send Now, and it will allow you to send them out in locked documents. So your clients are never going to be able to open those documents or make changes to them. They're only going to be able to sign where you've set up. And you're going to be able to track who signed the documents and when and where. So it makes it very, very easy to track, okay, party 1 is signed and so is party 2. Now I'm opening my email for just a second because I want to show you exactly what your client is going to see. Isn't that the big piece? Is we need to make sure that it's super friendly on the client side. So when the email comes to your client, again, it's coming from your name as the agent so that they recognize it. Those documents, again, are going to be locked, and all they're going to do is see your name, select Review, and it's going to take them to the actual signing process. So right here, it's telling your clients they're going to review, they're going to sign and confirm, and they're going to save a copy. They're going to simply type out their name on their keyboard, and it's going to guide them to any place that you've set up, or in this case maybe pre-tagged, for them to sign. They can go through, they can read the entire document, but you can see how very quickly I can add my signature. Once I add this as the client, it's going to send it back to the agent, and in this case it's going to go on to that second party to be fully executed. It also is going to put an ID number or a tracking number above my signature, as you see here. So it's actually capturing the IP address of the computer that I'm signing this document on. So it's a really great way to turn around and have these documents automatically signed. Again, they're legal and binding. I think they're very, very user-friendly on the client side. As an agent, I can't recommend it enough. It really simplifies the entire process of getting documents signed by your client. Okay. Now, there are a lot of great things going on right now with e-sign. I was talking to Stokes a little while ago, and it had explained that DocuSign now has partnered with NAR, providing free accounts for agents. They're limited accounts. You get 5 envelopes a month, but you can use that service right now for free, making it very quick, very efficient, and free is always a good thing in this market. All right, jumping over to some of the other options, one of those options is Fast Fill. And you'll notice we built these much easier to use picture toolbars here. So it's a little bit easier to find exactly what you're looking for. In Fast Fill, getting a little bit of feedback. In Fast Fill, it allows you to simply remove the text from a form and go in and simply add the information into the form. Then when you're ready to review it, you can go right back to that Fast Fill option. It's going to put all that text right back on the form for you. So if you're in an extreme hurry, you got to get into the office and get everything filled out quickly, you can go ahead and apply Fast Fill and just fill out all the fields. Now, my time is almost up here, so I want to point out that everything. Whoop, we're getting a lot of feedback. Hello? Hello? Seem to be getting just a little bit of feedback there, but my time is almost up here, so I just want to point out that everything I've shown you today in this program is also available under the Help tab. That Help allows you to see actual how-to videos of every single thing that you can do in ZipForm. How you can print transactions off, email, use templates, how you can import into the address book. They're all available right in ZipForms. You can click on play and watch a how-to video of every single thing that you can do in ZipForm. So although we've added a lot of new features, you can go right to the help tutorials, and it's not like you have to read a book. You can watch a 30 or 40-second video that will literally walk you through some of those new features. All right, Liza, do I have a little more time, or I think we're just about out of time? So
You can take all you need, really. I mean, if you need some more time,
okay.
Go for it.
All right, well, I'm going to take just a couple more minutes then, if you don't mind. And I want to talk a little bit about the smaller toolbar. We've added recently just some great tools there as well. Like we've added a new highlighter feature. So if you're sending documents over to clients and you're sending them, let's say, via email, and there's a particular area you want to bring attention to, you now can use the highlighter feature. You can use the Post-it note option. So I can go in and I can put a little note like, please call me when you've received these documents. I can go ahead and type that in, and I can maneuver this anywhere on the contract that I want. Now, about now, somebody's having a heart attack saying, oh my gosh, but now you can't see anything on the contract. Well, don't worry. It will never cover or interfere with the document in any way. It'll simply minimize that right off to the side of the page. So it will never cover anything you filled in, and it won't cover the document, but it's a great way to relay a quick message over to your buyer or seller. So it's just almost like a virtual Post-it note. Since you're emailing these contracts out, well, you know, we want to relay that message and we're not there, so we can leave a little note so they can immediately see it. Another thing that I like a lot that we have added is the NA option. If you're filling out a contract and you want to ensure no one's writing in your blank lines when you're sending it, well, remember, they can't alter it if you email it because it locks those documents down. But if they print it out, we want to make sure if they print it out, they're not writing anything on that contract either. So what we can do is we can apply NA to any blank lines, ensuring that no one can write where they're not supposed to. Okay, so I'm assuring myself here that no one can write in any of my blanks because as you see, I've filled NA in. Now, where I really like this as an agent is that you can also put in something like C-Bank addendum or broker or bank must approve. You can actually type that in and you can fill that into your blank line. So it's a great way to insert information, just not leaving those fields open. All right, and then lastly, just in closing, I want to cover that Forms tab that I mentioned. There's a lot of times that as an agent, I want to run into the office. I simply want to grab a form and go. I do not want to make a whole transaction. I can select the Forms tab, simply grab the form I want, drag it up into my transaction, and immediately start using that form. So I don't have to make an entire new transaction.
Colleen, we
Yes.
have a question. They wanted to know
Okay, great.
how, if the line is not long enough, how do you add more information?
Great question. If there is a form that you're commonly using that does not provide enough room to fill information in that you're commonly filling in, please feel free to email that over to ZipForm. We'll take a look and we'll ask the association if that line should be larger. Now, there is an override that's located in the program, but it's more for overriding format. Meaning, let's say you've taken up a particular listing, and it calls for what percentage, like as you see here. Anything I type here is going to format it in a percentage for me, right? Because that's how it's set up. Just like if I type in a dollar field, it's going to format in a dollar percent or a dollar field format. However, there are times maybe we're not doing a percentage. Maybe it's going to be a flat fee. What you can do is you can do your space bar, which will allow you to override that type of formatting. But as far as filling out a contract and just running out of room, like let's say you have a long paragraph that you insert here, we actually format this to the specs of the association. So they tell us about how many characters. As you can see, there's about 65 characters. You can see that by simply rolling your mouse over the field. It'll tell you how many characters you can fill in there. If you feel that you need more characters on a general basis, if you email that to us, we will send that over to the association, and if they approve, then we can add more characters to that field. But we have to go through the association because they actually can show us exactly how many characters they want to be filled into that particular area. And you'd be surprised. I know it sounds kind of silly. Well, why would they care? But there's a lot of them that want only certain information to be added to certain fields, and so they don't make them too big or too small. Great question, though. Any other questions?
That's it, I think.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for your time. Let me also give you a help desk number should you ever have any questions in the program. I get that a lot on trainings. Well, what if I have a question? Well, who do I call? Well, ZipForm has complimentary help and support that's available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. to answer any of the questions that you're having, and that number is 586-840-0140. Again, it's 586, and I'll type it out here, 840-0140. Thanks, everybody, for your time. I hope everybody has a great day.